Today is the infamous Hate America rally. Let the right-wing influencers tell it. So, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about Antifa, the word that every time you hear it from the lips of a left-wing media person, the point is to say that it doesn't exist when it actually does exist, but it's not actually at all the way it's being described. In a quarter mile, use the second. It's not at all what it's being described by the right as, right? So the right wing is lying about Antifa. The left wing is lying about Antifa. And we're going to talk about the truth about Antifa and what's happening in this moment, which I think is very interesting. And we're going to talk about the Hate America rally. We're going to talk about the normal conservatives exit there. We're going to talk about the Hate America rally. Let the right-wing media tell it. And I guess we want to separate the lies from the reality of what's really happening. So, I guess first of all, let's talk about today. Today is the No Kings protest, another No Kings protest. One of the interesting things that I find, that I've observed, is that it's getting a lot more coverage than the other events. And I'm not just talking about the right-wing media talking about it, but I'm talking about the left-wing media. Left-wing media has been very, very silent in covering the resistance. They love talking about how bad things are and we're losing our democracy, but they hardly provide any support whatsoever to the resistance, which really lays bare how fake and fraudulent they are. That it's really just about the clicks, not as much as the right-wing media for sure, but they really are preoccupied with clicks and their own personal growth and their businesses, right? But I think perhaps potentially worse than that is their audiences don't care either, right? Because I pointed this out many times to the audiences, my own audience, and you know, people are just kind of like, oh, it's fine and this and that, or they'll just deny reality and say like, no, they do cover it, right? Covering a rally is not waiting until after the rally has happened and posting a bunch of shorts, YouTube shorts, to get clicks showing, oh, look at all these people coming to protest against Trump. Like, if our democracy is really at risk, and I believe it is, then what you should be seeing from the average left-wing media channel is they should all, weeks in advance, promote the events. This is when it's happening. Go to this website. Here are some tips if you're going to go. Bring water, whatever it is. Leave your phones at home. You know, if you see someone doing violence, call it out. You know, be aware of agitators. Like, an entire video about the event coming up. Maybe because, I mean, that's going in accordance with their style, right? They're really propagandists, right? Who claim to be like part of a movement. So that would be the thing to do if that's what you really are, right? But I prefer more objective media. So if that's the case, then you don't want to really be promoting the event per se. You just want to inform people about the events. But what you do then is you invite people who are part of the event to be on your channel and allow them to promote the event, right? You're just the media. Oh, and speaking of which, here we go. There's the Hate America rally. Look at all those hating America people. All those people hating America. So yeah, so if you're really serious, you'd want to promote the events. If you're on if you agree with my perspective on the media, then you would just allow the event organizer. You'd invite them on. You'd go to the events, definitely go to the events, be live, you know. But most of the times, even this time, this is one of the largest events, and I didn't even know about it until about a week. And I'm obsessive with politics, so I'm always watching all these channels. Right? Right wing, left wing, centrist, you know, far left, whatever it is. Right? Mainstream media. And I just found out recently. And why? Because there's a clickbait angle of like, oh, Trump is trying to call these people terrorists and whatever. And you should talk about that. But that shouldn't be the only reason you're talking about the event. And it's really frustrating that even as bad as things are, I point this out to people, my own audience, and others. And it's kind of like I'm being like a party pooper. It's just like I don't understand. Either you're taking this seriously or you're not. Either this is an existential threat to America and to the world, really, or it's not. And if you really believe that this is so serious, then why would you just be so lackadaisical about holding the people accountable in your media? Right? We are very aggressive in calling out right-wing media for their lies, their manipulation, their propaganda. But when it's people you agree with, all of a sudden it's kind of like, you know, whatever. And I think the worst is when people deny reality. When they don't even want to accept the truth of what's happening. They'll deny and say, no, they cover it. I've seen people covering it. And it's like, bro, that's literally the same type of mentality that you hear from a lot of these right-wing media propagandists, where they, you know, it's 98% of their content is attacking the left and liberals. And you tell them, like, your propaganda, all you do is talk about the left. You don't call out Republicans. They're like, no, that's not true. I call out Republicans as well. That's not right. I call it, and it'll literally be true, because 2% of their content does sort of mention Republicans or the right. That's what's happening. It's like that there is any coverage at all of these events, oh, it's covered. So there's no care about how it's done, if it's done within any serious level, and the stakes at hand, right? Ultimately, the stakes at hand. What is at risk, right? When you have, and even these things, like, I feel alone. I've never heard anyone else say this. When I say it's embarrassing that only 5 million people came out to the last event. Of course, you might have bad faith actors on the right that will pretend like 5 million is not a lot. That's not me. 5 million is a lot of people, but relative to how serious things are now, it's embarrassing. We're a country of 350 million people, and with such massive things happening in our country right now, the idea that only a mere 5 million people, a way more higher percentage of people in Puerto Rico showed up when they were protesting corruption in their government, and surprise, surprise, they got quick results. The corrupt politicians, multiple of them, stepped down. And it's I feel like I'm like in an insane asylum, because every time I mention this, it's like no one seems to register or care, or just kind of like, oh, that's just because whatever. But to me, I'm just like, guys, do you see this? Look at what happens when you overwhelmingly, massively go out and fight for what you believe in, right? You bombard them to the degree where they can't ignore you. Look at the results and how fast you get the results. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. That is, those are Americans. They're part of America. And they were able to do it. But in the United States, even as bad as things have got, only 5 million people came out. I'm hoping that they get at least 10 to 20 million this time. But I doubt it. If I'm to guess, maybe 7 to 8 million. You know, a trickle more. I think I'll give them a little bit more credit, because with all the scare tactics that you're seeing coming from the right, trying to intimidate people to not showing up, talking about terrorism and all this kind of stuff, For it still to be good numbers says a lot. That people, had the courage to come out anyway. But it could go the other way as well. That could actually be effective, and maybe the numbers are suppressed, and maybe it's 3 million, which would be, more embarrassing than the last time. And I say this, at the same time being proud of the Americans that stood up and resisted and put their lives at risk. There were, a lot of risk in going to these events. I applaud them. I'm proud of them. My embarrassment comes from the rest of the people who didn't show up. My embarrassment comes from all these left-wing media people who hardly provide any support. But now let's talk about Antifa. Antifa exists. They're organized. They have been involved in mild forms of domestic terrorism, but no one in left-wing media will say this. Obviously, everyone in right-wing media will say this, but they won't really say this because what I'm saying is the actual truth. They will exaggerate and make it something that it's not. Domestic terrorism at the hand of Antifa is going to come in the form of trying to light fires and burning buildings. They might even get in fist fights, or they might throw bricks at police officers. I don't want to downplay the severity of it, because at its worst, many, I think hundreds of police officers have been put in the hospital at the hand of these far left extremist groups that no one in left-wing media will be honest about, even in this moment where we know that if Donald Trump can, oh my goodness, if Donald Trump can find something, anything at all, to like charge someone and indict someone, regarding terrorism or some illegal acts or some foreign country funding some of these groups, he's going to do it. And it's going to be all over the news, and everyone in left-wing media is going to look like a bunch of liars for pretending like Antifa is a fake thing and it doesn't really exist. The reality is Antifa is not an organization. Technically, you're correct if you say they're not an organization. But there are Antifa organizations, right? That's like a semantic game that's being played, right? Rose City Antifa. Rose City Antifa. I think they were founded in 2007. They've been around for a very, very long time. I've been paying much attention to what Antifa has been doing since 2020. So I couldn't say specifically what's the worst of Rose City Antifa. I do know for a fact that Antifa does get involved in domestic terrorism. They do get involved in violence. They do get involved in law breaking. And if I were a foreign country looking to sow division in this country, I would absolutely be trying to fund them and help them to do whatever they're doing. So that means that there are potential of Antifa groups that are getting funded from foreign countries. And if that is found out, I'm telling you, man, the right-wing movement is going to get even stronger, because a bunch of centrists are going to see this and be like, wow, I've been lied to. We've seen this before, right? Left-wing media puts out misinformation, right? The right wing dominates in that, of course, but still, when left-wing media puts out misinformation, right? And then the truth comes out, and then of course right-wing media dishonestly jumps on top of it. Well, I shouldn't say dishonestly, manipulatively, right? Because they're using that to push a lie, right? They're using something that's actually factual to push a lie about something else. They have another underlying rhetoric they're trying to push, and they'll use this as ammunition to boast that up. The thing that they're promoting is actually false, but the specific thing that the left-wing media was wrong about is actually true, right? So what happens is there's people who are in the middle who believe the narrative that's coming from mainstream media or left-wing media, and then when they find out that it actually wasn't true, someone like Ben Shapiro does a video, and then they're like, Ben Shapiro's like, and then it's kind of an eye-opening, shocking moment where the person's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I fell for this. and then tell me more. And then it's like Ben Shapiro, then he gets in their brains and left wing media and Marxist, blah, 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 blah. And next thing, what happens is once bitten, twice shy. Now they become super skeptical of anything coming from the left and not so much things coming from the right. So they drop their guard to the right because the right are the ones who told them the truth about this one thing. So now the right wing can lie to them on a regular basis, and they will do that. But the left, it's like everything they say is kind of like, I don't know, man, you guys lied about the Antifa thing. Like, so that is how you get more people to the right. You get more Republican voters. That is what this kind of sloppy journalism. Antifa groups do exist. There are that, you know, this is a real thing, right? But here's the reality in this moment. Antifa has been kind of asleep since 2020. Not literally since 2020, but let's just say since this Trump presidency, because even when he won, right? The Antifa that I know would have been all up in the streets. The stuff that Fox News is crying, that's not happening. I mean, they pretend like it's happening, but the stuff that right-wingers are upset about, that's not happening. Like, right-wingers would love to see violence in the streets and whatever, because it validates the rhetoric that they believe in, that they've been taught to be true, that you know, that these things are true. So it's annoying when you just see people in animal suits goofing around, right? Those groups have been really absent, not literally, but overall. Like, I've been shocked. I expected a long time ago that they would have been in the streets doing what they do. But instead, what I've seen is a liberal takeover, right? You have a movement, I would say a Midas touch movement. I don't mean that literally. But think about the type of liberal that's watching Midas Touch and loves Midas Touch. That's who we see in the streets. These are not the burn down the city people. These are not Antifa. Right? So it's a weird thing that in this moment when Antifa, the far left extremists, and it's ironic because that's how much of a joke the left is, right? In this moment, where the left is absolutely being crushed and brutalized, fascism is on the rise. The far left extremists, who the hell knows where they are? Again, I don't mean that as an absolute statement. They're obviously out there somewhere doing something, but compared to 2020 and before, it's like they might as well not exist anymore. Again, it's the liberals that are taking over. I've had it podcasts, people, the MSNBC crowd. These are nonviolent people. Again, they're about the peaceful so back in 2020, it was massively peaceful protests, right? And that side of it was coming from this liberal side that's peaceful and talking about, you know, healthcare and stuff like that. Those are the ones who were out there peacefully protesting in 2020. The crazy extremist people that were burning things down, like, they have been really, it's like, where are they? Which is why Fox News has resorted to playing like old videos from, you know, back in the day, because, you know, we don't have the people trying to burn things down, right? Like it was in 2020. So that's the reality, right? Liberals are the ones that are out there. And I listened to some of the No Kings protests today, and the hate America rhetoric amounts to them talking about, you know, we need to have better health care. We need to have affordable housing. Like, this is literally what they were talking about, the hate America. They were even talking about, ironically, American values in terms of talking about the Constitution and what the Founding Fathers spoke about. It's certainly American and patriotic to talk about the fact that the Founding Fathers were against kings and against the monarchy. And they definitely talked about that. That is certainly American. That is not hate America. You know, America was founded as a country that was going against those things. So people fighting for what the country was founded based on would not be hating America. That would be people that love America, right? Because they are fighting for the thing that America was founded on, right? That doesn't make any sense to. So we're gonna found a country that's based on we don't want any kings, right? That's what happened. That's our history. The country was founded on we don't want any kings, right? A government for the people, by the people, right? And it's ironic. Like I was actually thinking when I was listening to some of these no kings protesters, and I said they sound to me like conservatives, right? I mean, like I keep saying, conservatives, they don't exist anymore. But what conservatism used to be, the people at this protest, they sound like it. Talking about we are a country by the people, for the people. That's what they're talking about, right? Talking about the American dream, reviving the American dream where, we can afford to live and have health care. We're not drowning in debt, right? That's the American dream, right? People from all over the world want to come here. They have this vision, regardless of what the reality is. They have this vision of the success and wealth and people being able to, the white picket fence or whatever that stuff, that image that we present, that is core to America. And the people of these rallies, they're fighting for these core things. And it's interesting that one of the big things that the so-called conservatives like to talk about is they talk about American values, but usually they don't talk about what those values are, which is interesting. That kind of gives the game away that it's really just a rhetorical talking point, like, oh, family, American values, American values, American values. In contrast, we're not hearing these liberals at this protest today talking about values. They're talking about the actual values themselves. They're saying healthcare, prosperity, a government for the people, by the people, right? So the conservatives aren't saying that, right? I don't hear that from conservatives. They just saying values, 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 American values. They don't have our values, 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 values. The word values doesn't say anything specific about what you are fighting for. But at this protest, again, they're articulating what they're fighting for. Now, I again have to, I'm as nonpartisan as it gets, but I'm also very much grounded in reality. So I have to call things out as they are. And, you have right-wing media and people in the tops of the government who are smearing this event and calling it the Hate America rally. And as usual, it's just been crickets. 2025 has been the year of conservative cricketism. I'm gonna make something up. Cricketism, right? The extremists are having a ball. This is great. This is what we voted for. Yeah, get those Marxists, tranny loving, right? But the normal conservatives, it's crickets, right? Where are the conservatives who really love America and really patriotic that are like, listen, we love how Trump is sealing up the border, but fuck with this bullshit of calling these people terrorists and saying that it's a Hate America rally when all they're talking about is stuff that is purely American, right? Healthcare, and this is stuff that we want to. Where are the conservatives saying, like, listen, we want good healthcare too? The stuff that they're talking about these rallies, we want it too. So it is anti-American for you to be talking about that fighting for American values are hating America, right? Like, what is that about? But it's silence, right? I think these same conservatives that are silent in this moment were perhaps, going along with the rhetoric that says the left is, instigating violence because of their rhetoric, calling Trump the new Hitler, even though it was J.D. Vance who said that, but they pretend like the left said that, but it was actually a conservative who called Trump the new Hitler. And there were many other conservatives who are now Trump allies who called Trump Hitler or made those kind of statements, right? But we're going to pretend like the left is they're the ones calling him Hitler. It's only them. And, they're leading to violence. Look what happened to Charlie Kirk. But in this moment, we have the people at the top of the government in the Republican Party also, who are calling the left, not even the left, I should say the left, calling Democrats terrorist sympathizers, and they hate America. So a rally that's about healthcare and we don't want any kings, you can't get any more American than that. Like that was what we were founded on. You can't get any. I mean, only thing more American than fighting against kings in America is apple pie, I guess. Right? So where are the normal conservatives that are saying, fuck you, Fox, fuck you, Trump's press secretary? Like, how dare you do such a great job with the border and a great job with stopping this woke stuff or whatever it is that they like, and then threaten us getting more of these things that we want by lying and smearing the left and calling them terrorists and doing this kind of divisive stuff, which makes us all look like hypocrites. Like, where are the conservatives who are upset, who are calling Fox News and saying, stop the fucking bullshit? Where are the normal conservatives that are upset and calling their politicians and saying, listen, we don't agree with those left people with their fucking tranny stuff. Like, we hate that. But stop calling them fucking terrorists. They're not terrorists, and you know that. And you literally were just saying that they're bad because they call Trump fascist, or they're saying some of us are fascists. And now you're calling them terrorists. Like, stop the fucking bullshit. Right? You're making us look bad. You're hurting the country. Like, where are those conservatives? Crickets. Crickets, crickets. It's either crickets from the normies, or the far right is like, yeah, they're terrorists, yeah, Hamas supporters, and anyway, let me get going. Family time. Why aren't you on the hate rally? Because I love America. Guess you can still join. Could make a cool video showing yourself in the hate rally while spewing hate. Yeah, actually, I was going to, but unfortunately, family duties are happening right now, which is why I'm here. I'm actually late. So let me get going. I did attend the last one. I don't know if you watched the live stream that I did at the last one. And I try to get some interviews and things like that. I think I posted a couple videos, but unfortunately this time around, family stuff comes first. Anyway, hope you have a good day, and this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below, and until next time, I hate America. America sucks. It's the worst country in the world, and I hate it so much. That's why I won't leave, and that's why I'm holding up these signs saying we need more kings in America. More kings. We need more kings. Oh, is it no kings or more kings? I forget.